a lot of books about where my Pearce ancestors come from. Some say that the first Pearce in England was named Percy. When William the Conqueror came from Normandy in 1066 to conquer England, his fleet commander was a man named Percy. Some researchers say that my Pearce ancestors came to England more recently from France when the Catholics were persecuting the Huguenots in the 1500s. The Huguenots were religious reformers like the Pilgrims. They had the habit of naming their children obscure names from the Old Testament. And so it was that in the year 1615, in the town of Higham, Kent County, England, that Martha and Azricam Pearce became the proud parents of Michael Pearce. One of Michael's brothers, whose name was William, was a great sea captain, according to Martha Heligso, author of Captain Michael Pearce. Up to 1640, William crossed the sea more often than any man living. He sailed on many ships, including the Mayflower. I recently found, though, that there were several ships named the Mayflower at that time, and this was not the ship that brought the original settlers to Plymouth Rock, but William did bring over many eminent men such as Reverend Cotton and Roger Williams. My ancestor Michael Pearce came to America and settled in Hingham, Massachusetts in about 1645. He then bought some land in Scituate, Massachusetts, and moved there. While there, he married Pearce's Eames. In 1675, an Indian chief, whom the whites named Philip, organized some of the tribes and started the King Philip War. It was fought very ruthlessly, with the Indians burning English villages, killing and torturing men, women, and children, and the English retaliating in a like manner. Michael Pearce was appointed captain of a company of 63 Englishmen and 20 friendly Indians. On Sunday, March 26, 1679, 900 Indians ambushed Michael and his men. They fought bravely, but Michael was killed along with 55 of his English and 10 of his Indian friends. Captain Michael Pearce left several children when he died. Among them was our ancestor, Ephraim Pearce. Ephraim Pearce had a son named Ephraim Pearce, Jr., who had a son called Deacon Mile Pearce, who had a son called Captain Mile Pearce, who had a son named John Pearce. At that time they spelled their name P-A-R-C-E and pronounced it Pearce. John Pearce and his wife, Elizabeth Horton, had several children. Our lineage comes through their son, Perry Horton Pearce. Perry was born in 1776 and later moved with his parents and siblings from Rehoboth, Massachusetts, to Beekmantown, New York, which is near Lake Champlain. Perry married Betsy Owen and had a son named Alonzo Pearce. In 1837, Perry bought his father's farm, and in the same year, Alonzo married Esther Angel. Another migration. In 1843, while in New York, Alonzo Pearce joined the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He moved to Burlington, Iowa, and then to Utah in 1852. He settled in Provo and died there at the age of 84 after falling from an apple tree. One of Alonzo's sons was named Sylvester Henry Pearce, who was born in 1843 in New York. His mother died before he was 4 years old. He came to Utah with his father and stepmother in October 1852. He married Rosetha Reynolds and moved to Echo Canyon and helped build the first railroad in Utah. In November 1882, he decided to move to Woodruff, Navajo County, Arizona, to build a dam across the Little Colorado River. This was a very hard trip for his wife, whose two smallest children had whooping cough. The trip took 3 to 5 weeks, and her friends assured her that camping would not hurt them. They had traveled for several days. The babies had not suffered much when on November 3rd a cold wind blew all day. They stopped in Monroe, Utah, where Sylvester secured a room for the night. Rosetha took the smaller baby in out of the cold, while Sylvester went to the wagon to get the little boy, William, who was just 3 years old. The child started crying and coughing as he was picked up, and he died before reaching the house. They went from Monroe to Panguitch, and the baby grew worse, passing away on the 23rd day of November, and was buried in Panguitch. Many years later, when the parents returned to Monroe and Panguitch, they searched a long time to locate the little graves, but had no success. On May 1st, 1900, Sylvester's family moved to Vernal, Utah because their home in Alpine, Arizona was declared to be on a timber reserve. At that time, their son Charles Henry Pearce was married to Eliza Noble, and they stayed behind in Luna, New Mexico, with their 7 children, among them Charles Edward Pearce. They followed later, though, in 1907, moving to the nearby town of Roosevelt, where relatives had filed on some farmland. Charles Edward Pearce met and married Edna Smart in Roosevelt. Charles became a salesman, moved to Salt Lake City, Utah, and the rest is history.
You're beautiful. What a beautiful family.